Hey dudes and chicks, and neither if those rules don't apply to you. Welcome to Makeup for Last Time. My name is Katie. Today I'm going to be just shooting the shit about some things that I learned when I was doing my Googling what it meant to really do a crash your Christmas party look. I'm just going to be doing a chatty get ready with me, talking about some of the roots of where our Christmas traditions come from, and while I use the Kaleidos Escape Pod to do a correlating themed look. So if you guys are interested in hearing some stuff about that or seeing how I got this look, then just hang out. Okay, I'm gonna start with my Made by Mitchell ME3, and I'm gonna go into the color Tango, this orange, and I'm gonna start making that, making that into a transition shade. And I'm just gonna start putting that in the outer V and then running that along my like transition area. Which for me, I'm pretty lucky. I feel like I have quite a bit of space in between my eyebrow and my brow bone. So I'm lucky like that. I have hooded eyes, but I still have room for color. Or maybe it's because I live like this. I'm so surprised. I wanted to talk about some of the things that I learned during my research. I'm a researcher. I am constantly like Googling things. Like when people start to like argue or like people think they know something, I just start Googling. I don't even bother. Arguing is a fucking thing of the past. Like arguing over how long a giraffe's neck is or how many people there are in Saudi Arabia. Those days are over. Like arguments over facts are like over. So I started doing this research when I was creating my anti-Christmas look. And I mean, I was just blindly Googling. I didn't know what I was Googling. I just started Googling a bunch of different things. One of the things that I found was that Christmas Day is actually was a pagan holiday referred to as Saturnalia. When I heard that word, I recalled that there's actually a color in the Escape Pod called Saturnalia. And like some people don't know how to pronounce it. I've heard people stumble over it, and I just didn't know what it means. And you know, every time I learn something, I just think, God, there's so much I don't know. Saturnalia is a celebration by the Romans, much like the celebration of Yule, which my friend Nikki is celebrating right now. So Yule starts on December 21st and goes through January, and they're all the celebration of the winter solstice. So the winter solstice is when the days start getting longer and the worst of winter is behind us. And honestly, like, I feel like even when you hear the word solstice, you think of some kind of witchcraft and shit. You know what I mean? It's like this, there's just so many, all these weird connotations with everything. Like these systems of thought that we get placed on us, like over history and everything. It's like, why the fuck would winter solstice mean like some kind of voodoo, you know? In the Norse celebrate Yule, and Nikki, you can correct me at any time. In fact, please, because my research was basically like 3 articles. Yule is also the celebration of the winter solstice. It's the recognition of the return of the sun. The fathers and sons, they would go out. It would be like their father-son day, and they would go get a huge log, the Yule log, right? We've all heard of it. And they would bring it back and they would party like rock stars until the log was burned. And what they believed was that every spark represented a pig or a calf that would be born during that year. And essentially all of these celebrations are about the year bearing fruit, or like an abundant year in harvest and animals and stuff like that. Like praying for, you know, food. Basically, for the Norse, those homies would make the alcohol, and so essentially at the exact same time as they were slaughtering all the cows because they didn't want to have to feed them through the winter, so at the same time as they would have this abundance of meat, fresh meat, they would also, that would be right about the same time that all of their like liquor was done fermenting and ready to drink. So they would just party like a motherfucker, celebrating the return of the light. Now, Saturnalia is it's kind of the same deal, where it was celebrated in Rome, and it would be in recognition of Saturn, the god of agriculture. So in Rome, what the deal was all the fucking people would, all the poor, it would be a time during which, like during the winter solstice, like society would be turned completely upside down, and like all the broke dick motherfuckers would like live like the fucking bougie motherfuckers, and then all the bougie people would live like all the broke dick welfare cases. And so it would be completely turned upside down, and everybody would just party. The schools would close down. It was crazy. And it said it was like comparable to Mardi Gras. And actually, December 25th was celebrated as the birthday of the god Mithra, which was the infant god. So they also celebrated on this day Juvenalia, which was the celebration of where they would like do all this shit for the kids. I don't remember, but it was based on the infant god who was born from a rock, Mithra. Now I'm going to take my Made by Mitchell ME1, the bigger brush, and I'm going to dip into Lo-Fi and into Tango, and then I'm going to mix those two colors. So I'm going to do this thing, right? Dip, dip, dip. And hopefully I can use that to blend this out. I honestly probably don't need to do this too much, and I don't think I'm just barely touching this on here, because I feel like I can basically like blend up this orange and get rid of the harsh line without doing a whole ton. So yeah, all the people in Rome at this point, the masters are the slaves and the poor are totally in command. On December 25th, it was a time where the poor could go to the houses of the rich and ask for their best food and drink, and the rich would have to like accommodate them, or they would get like harassed, and like the poor people would like totally like toilet paper their house or some shit. I don't fucking know what they did back in the day. Sugar their gas tanks or some shit. I don't fucking know. Graffiti their homes. I don't know what does terror look like back in the day when the eggs are so precious. You're just like, no, don't throw that at a house. Not the eggs. Toilet paper is like a huge commodity back then. So what are you really gonna do? At a certain point, I'm gonna use this ME2, my Made by Mitchell ME2, and I'm gonna go into the color Terrace. Because here's the deal, I am recreating a Yule log. I'm recreating, the theme of my look is Saturnalia and the Yule log. So I need to put some brown in there. So at a certain point, this dude, Pope Julius I, decided that it was really important for them to start celebrating the birth of Jesus. And even though historically, no one really knows when Jesus was born, but it's thought that Jesus was born in the spring, or at least not in the dead of winter, because the wise men wouldn't have been walking across, like, right, like they wouldn't have been walking in the snow. And honestly, even though like visual depictions of that story probably may or may not, we don't know what went down, right? We weren't there. Like, we're just hearing like this secondhand information. Like, we know enough, right? We know enough for it to be important to us, and we know enough for it, like, it's about symbolism, right? It doesn't, like, the fact that we celebrate Christmas on the 25th and it's not Jesus's birthday doesn't matter, because it's about a celebration of Jesus's life. So that doesn't fucking matter, right? But basically, like, Pope Julius, this motherfucker decided to celebrate the birth of Jesus on the 25th to try to absorb this pagan celebration, because they couldn't stop it. It was too popular. And even like sometime in the 17th century, the Puritans tried to ban the celebration of Christmas, because they knew that this was all like rooted in this like crazy celebration. And it was a pagan celebration, and so they tried to ban Christmas, and it worked for a little while, but people disliked Christmas too much, and it just took hold, and there was no fucking stopping it. So a couple things about Saturnalia, because it was like about the bringing back of life. Does that look like a Yule log? The best I could get from the Escape Pod palette. because I had to use it because it has that fucking color Saturnalia in it, right? All of these things, like the tradition of gift giving, decorating your house, singing. I mean, it wasn't probably necessarily caroling, but like singing, decorating your house, and decorating trees. So the trees, the evergreens represented the coming of the light and the days getting longer and winter like kind of subsiding and quit being such a cold ass dick. At that point, people would take apples and they would hang them off the evergreens, and that's like where like decorating your tree with the red balls is like a representation of putting apples on the evergreens to celebrate winter solstice. And I'm going back into Tango. Not that it's really relevant right now, but these colors are blending really well. So the final thing I wanted to mention was mistletoe. So mistletoe was actually a tradition that was brought by the Druids, which I didn't even know what the fuck that was at all. I took a Western Civ class in college, but I didn't really pay that much attention. Like, I remember learning a lot of this stuff, but I remember learning it after I, like, read it. You know what I mean? The Druids are the ones who started the mistletoe thing because mistletoe was a sign of like, wishing for peace. The Druids are the high class Celtic. Okay, does that look like a Yule log? Mistletoe was a sign of peace, and it was so much. There was a point where the English banned mistletoe because it was like a representation of the pagans. That's my big story. Christmas is the celebration, the actual time and everything. Because you know how haters are always like, you know, Christmas is actually derived from pagan holidays. Well, I'm not a hater like that, but like I said, I found it interesting to learn all that stuff. And also, especially since right now, I'm like watching Nikki do her Yule celebration, and I have so many okay, so my YouTube friends, a lot of them are in, you know, they're in areas of the world that this is like a part of their history and even a part of their life now. And I want to fucking know about it because I don't want to be a stupid fucking American who thinks that the way we do things is the only way people are doing things all over the world. Americans really have this ethnocentric view of things where we really don't realize that there's like other people doing things all over the world and they're not weird. They're just the way things are in other places, and we don't like have a monopoly on culture, right? Like, our culture's not the only culture. There's a lot of other cultures. Okay, this is my Yule log. I'm gonna use my Kaleidos S4 and apply NYX glitter primer. Quite frankly, Saturnalia is not my favorite shimmer in this palette, but hopefully this looks okay. This was not what my original plan was. And then I just decided to kind of go against my plan. I mean, I'm sure this green and orange can look good together. And with my Beely flat shadow brush, I'm gonna go into the color Saturnalia. Also, I was going to do another purple and green look because I am fucking sick with it, you guys. Okay, I'm going to spray this just because. Good enough for the guys I date. I feel like that totally looks like a celebration of winter solstice. I'm glad I did that, which is a rare fucking occurrence. It's rare occasion that I am glad that I second guessed myself. I'm gonna go into the color Terrace, and I'm gonna make that a little bit richer so we really get this tree and evergreen feel. Plus, we don't want to lose this brown. I really want that log to be like the log in my eye. Just kidding. Honestly, I do have a log in my eye. We all do. Some of you will get that reference and some of you won't. I'm going to take this ME1 and I'm just going to dip into the color Lo-Fi, that white. and blend around the outside edge. And I'm gonna dip into Tango just barely. And then I'm gonna tap that ass. I'm just gonna take this ME2, the smallest brush, and go into Terrace and run that along my lower lid. And then with my Made by Mitchell ME3, I'm gonna go into the color Tango. I'm just barely tapping this in here too. These brushes are so good. Back into Terrace, the brown. I'm sure a lot of you guys already knew all this. I have a hard time believing I'm the only one that didn't know. And I also have a hard time believing that I'm the only one that wouldn't find it interesting. I'm gonna take this Alter Ego number 7 pencil brush and I'm gonna go into Saturnalia and I'm just gonna place this along my lower lash line and then pull it down. I'm gonna actually place that in my inner corner because I'm gonna put something over the top of this. I'm just gonna blend this. I'm going to use the color Eon from Terra Moons, and I'm going to still use that Alter Ego number 7. And I'm just going to... Oh man, that color is something fucking else. And I'm going to go into that color Eon again, and I'm going to put some on my brow bone. Oh my god, do you guys see that? For fuck's sake. It's amazing. So it goes on like pretty fucking creamy, but dude, that is perfect. Titties! I am actually shitting my pants right now. You guys know. Okay, I'm gonna go finish the rest of my face and I'll be back when I'm done. So this is the manifesto, the pièce de résistance. I used my Sugar Pill Liquid Lip in Teacher's Pet, and I used my Urban Decay 24/7 gel liner in Lucky on my waterline. I used my Rouge and Rogue eye wigs in Electra, and I used my Kaleidos Makeup Highlighter in Solar Sailor because it's about celebrating the return of the sun. So I thought that would be totally appropriate. Plus it matched. Luckily. I was going to use my liner in Torch, but I don't like Torch as much as I like this one, the metallic one. I love the way it turned out. I don't really like the way it looks with my hair color. Sorry about that. That was not my intention. Honestly, it wasn't my intention to do these colors at all. That was like a last minute decision. I don't know. I just found all these facts so interesting, and so I thought I would just break them down. I thought it was worth talking about and worth knowing about. And Merry Yule. Happy Saturnalia. And I hope your year is filled with pigs and cows and stuff. Less pigs, more cows, hopefully, but at least in my circumstance. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell because you can't wait to see what happens next. Hit the like button if you like this look, or if you just like my sparkling personality, my boyish charm, and hang out with me in the comments because I fucking love it. Thank you guys so much for watching. You could have been anywhere, but you were here spending your precious, valuable time with me, and I totally appreciate you. Later.